Good morning, and happy Aloha Friday from the farm. Thank you for being with us on this beautiful morning. Still chilly here, and we are curious if spring is ever going to come around. But for those that are in the American Midwest or possibly in Colorado, you know our weather is a bit bipolar, so it'll likely get super warm, and sometime in June we'll get another blizzard. So you never know. But today's show is going to be a bit more about hydroponic sprouts. We've had a couple episodes that have talked about sprouting and hydroponic sprouts for chickens. So I want to just keep talking about these, and we can start to tease out more of what's important for those out there. I got an email from an individual who just started listening to my show and wanted to know a bit more about some of the nutritional qualities of sprouts. And one of the questions that he had was pointing out if sprouts were more nutritious than their counterpart. Are sprouts more nutritious than the plant that we would normally feed if it wasn't in its sprouted form? And before I get into a little bit of that, while I've got you, if you could be so kind as to leave a review, let me know what you've enjoyed so far or what you'd like to hear in the future. And while you're there, don't forget to give the show some stars and let others know why they should stick around too. So the email I got came from a listener who is new to the show and is into poultry and just started investigating using sprouted seeds, or what we like to call hydroponic fodder. He started sprouting for his chickens, and he had some questions about some other information that he came across on the internet. For instance, there is a blog called A Life of Heritage that speaks about sprouts and talks about the different aspects of farm living. And he specifically referenced an article about hydroponic fodder. And so he had a lot of questions about what it means to determine what information is the most accurate. So I was able to give him a brief overview saying, when we're looking at information, it's really good to start by looking at how many sources the original author uses when writing their article, and then looking at the quality of those references. So how many times are those references referenced? Are those references scrutinized? Are they being reviewed by other experts in the field or by others that have good critical thinking skills? When we're making claims about things, we have to do our best to back it up with data. Now, just having data in and of itself isn't necessarily going to say that you are right or you are wrong. The interpretation of the data is as important as the sources themselves. So just because you have a stack of something about a topic doesn't mean that you know what's inside that stack. So the advice I gave him was look at the number of sources for the things that you're looking. And then I referenced him to my book and made the comparison that said, for instance, I have over 120 citations in my book. And I cautioned him, like I just mentioned, that the number of citations isn't indicative of the quality of the work. So, for instance, my book has so many different citations because there was a lot of research from foreign countries. So I wanted to cross-reference and collaborate all of those different articles with each other and find the common threads that were in all of them. Now, I didn't have to necessarily cite every single source that I used, because some authors will inherently source things that are applicable. So sometimes you can take the most recent article and use that as the top level reference. However, as I was reading and writing, I recognized that there may be some golden nuggets in some of those research papers that I could have overlooked, and they might be important for those out there that are interested in getting into hydroponic fodder. So a reason I included so many references is because I recognize that there are individuals out there that are asking these questions. How do I know what information is the most accurate when I'm looking at hydroponic fodder? So the invitation to you as the listener out there for today's show is to dig into the back of my book, Thinking Outside the Soil, and start looking at those references and seeing how those fit into what it is you've done so far. Perhaps the research that you've done or are wanting to do may be found there in some of those sources. And also, it's an opportunity for those out there that scrutinize that information to come back to me and start asking me questions in a way that I may not have had an opportunity to look at things. During the revision and proofreading process of the book, I got to do that quite a bit with my proofreader and the person who was editing my book. They were able to say, okay, what does this mean? What does that mean? How did you interpret this? And it allows to discuss and communicate some topics at a different level than we were normally used to. So that is all I have for you today on this Aloha Friday. And I want to thank those out there that are constantly engaging with the show to let me know what it is that they want to listen to and why others are sticking around and learning about hydroponic fodder. So if you've enjoyed this show or any of the previous episodes, be sure to leave a review, and if you could be so kind as to let others know why they should stick around too, so they don't miss out on becoming part of the next agricultural revolution. Join us again tomorrow, and thank you for being with us on another episode of Thinking Outside the Soil. Take care and have a lovely day. Hey, before you go, check out the links below, and if you'd be so kind as to leave a rating and review and follow the show. For those with feathered friends, don't forget to get yourself some of our Blooming Health Farms Chicken Blend Sprouting Mix. This supplemental mix has been shown to give you some of the best eggs with the yummiest yolks. You'll have happy, healthy hens that abandon the feeder and give you eggs with high levels of vitamin A and omega fatty acids. So don't forget to get yourself some Blooming Health Farms Chicken Blend Sprouting Mix.